Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, and as always, thank you so much for coming back. Today we're going to continue the Rising Sign series. If you're new to the Rising Sign series, or if you're just new to astrology in general, this is the part of the chart that describes your first impression. I like to call it the head of PR, but you can call it whatever you want. And it basically defines, when you walk into a room, how do you present? Are you passive? Are you aggressive? Do you make a big impression on other people, or do you tend to kind of move to the side of the room where people don't notice you as much because you feel safer that way, or maybe unintentionally? And it can kind of describe why you might be, let's say, a Leo, and you're supposedly supposed to be so loud and noticeable and everyone seems to be drawn to you, but you might have a different rising sign that makes it so that's not entirely true. So the first impression, or the rising sign, can really give a different tone to a chart, and especially can give a different appearance, a different presentation than you might find with their sun sign. So today is for all the Gemini risings out there. And similar to Virgo rising, this rising sign is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the planet of communication. And so this rules how we talk, how we think, how we process and deliver information. And so for this reason, similar to a Virgo rising, it's a very talkative and very sort of mercurial rising sign. Unlike Virgo rising, which likes to know the answer, Gemini rising is pretty much defined by wanting to find the answer. So there's a huge level of curiosity to a Gemini rising. I like with clients to kind of talk about the sparkle in the eye factor. So Mercury is the bachelor god, and so for that reason, these people tend to have a very youthful appearance no matter what their actual age is. That's what I mean by that sparkle in the eye. It's this idea of like, I'm never done learning, I'm never done growing, I'm never done discovering new things about life, no matter how many years I've actually lived. And so for this reason, they make really fantastic public speakers, fantastic writers. I think of editors when I think of anything to do with Gemini. I said this in the Gemini Sun video, but all of the most famous rappers have a very heavy Gemini placement in their chart. Actually, the majority of them have a Gemini Sun. But if you have a Gemini rising, it's like one of the best questions to ask yourself is, how can I use my ability, my unique and profound ability to communicate as a tool for improving my life? So whether that be getting promoted, or, you know, having really great relationships because there's a certain level of honesty and authenticity in communication, or kind of being your own best detective of figuring out how to find the answer, how to learn that new subject, learn that new language, or discover that new skill that you want to understand. And so Gemini risings just really are going to be defined by their level of curiosity. And because of that, the way that you're actually known to other people is you're the person who knows a lot about everything. So you can be someone who comments not only about politics, but you can also comment about foreign relations. You can comment about spirituality because you've read a little bit about that. You can comment about like metaphysics because you've also somehow researched that. So it's really the person who knows a wide breadth about many different things, purely based on the fact that they're super curious and super able and willing to take the time to find the information. The second piece to a rising sign definitely has to do with appearance. How do you present? Gemini rising in particular, like, it can't really be defined by a physical trait. It's very hard to pin it down in that way, as is really every rising sign. But Gemini rising is going to be defined potentially by something youthful. And so for some people, their eyes are a little bit more wide set and far apart, which is a mark of youth. For some people, they just have this sort of like mischievous smile that makes them seem like they're, you know, a 5-year-old who's really excited about learning new things and kind of like maybe even like getting into trouble with how much information it learns. So yeah, something about the physical appearance that tricks people into thinking that you're a little bit younger and maybe a little bit more naive than you actually are. And so if you yourself are a Gemini rising, all I would just say is keep feeding the beast. And what I mean by that is like, keep learning new things, keeping yourself open to new information, new experiences, new people. It's not unlike its counterpart, which is Sagittarius rising, which is actually the opposite sign. Those two actually have a lot in common. And so this idea of the Sagittarius sign being the seeker, Gemini to me is very much the information seeker. So curiosity, in this case, does not kill a Gemini rising. This is something that's amazing for them and is going to nurture every single part of their life when it is defined by their rising sign. So I think that does it justice. Yes, I think that's all for now. If you guys have any questions or comments, obviously you can leave them below. If you aren't already, you can follow me on Instagram. And next up is going to be Taurus rising, and then we are going to finish the series with Aries rising. So stay tuned, and thank you guys so much. Talk to you soon.